Yo, can you hear me? Hey, Julian. Hey, Luke. Hope everyone's doing okay. If you want to talk about anything specifically, just let me know. I'm just wanted to jump on quickly and play some guitar, and thought I'd just do a live stream. So if you've got questions about stuff, feel free to. Julian, do you actually have one? I can load it into the cloud if people want it. Hey, Rick. Hey, Zach. So this was the Lone Star capture that I made. What was it, yesterday? Yeah, I'll sit on the quad for a while. I think it's interesting to see. It's interesting to be on that ride of a company making a new product. And to have been there from the beginning, I just think that's quite interesting in general. So how do I do that? I need to go. What I can do is share the captures, right? So if I go to here, I go my captures, just upload them to the cloud, don't I? So 4, so that one goes to the cloud, and Lone Star lower, I think that one goes to the cloud. I think that's all there is. And then I think I have to go into the app, don't I? I think I can also share the preset. There's nothing particularly posh going on in the preset. And I think one of the captures that I'm using there is a Tone Junkie one, which I can't really share. So neural captures. So those should be there now. If you want to try playing them, let me know. Delivery has been postponed to May the 7th. Let me just see what Tone Junkie's actually sharing now. Okay, so if you download TJ Rec Liverbird B3, I don't feel like the quad has something that the FM3 is lacking. No, I would say no to that, Zach. So if So the reason that I'm interested in modelers to some extent is that people are interested to see people using modelers, and like, yeah, so you come to YouTube, some people do, to see a modeler being used. If that wasn't the case, I don't think I'd have so many modelers, if that makes sense. Right, and then what, Lone Star Clean, if I just drag that, copy to cloud, presets, there you go, hopefully you can get that now. But the FM3 is super fully fleshed out. The only thing really that can't do potentially is some of the dual lamping stuff. So, but whether that's something you need or not is something that you could decide on. So yeah, fire away any more questions you might have. So Scott's asking, what about the helix? Is it filling a gap that the helix can't pull off? No, so at the moment the gaps are very much in the other direction, I would say. So for instance, you've got things like loopers, you've got things like, you know, lots of different filters, synth tones, this side of stuff. Those are some of the things that are in other modelers that are not in the Quad Cortex. What the Quad Cortex can do in some respects is, you know, like the 4 amps, like you can't do 4 amps in one preset on something like the Axe FX. You know, you can do 2 in the Axe FX and, you know, 8 cabs, I think. So there's that side of things. The effects the effects that are in the Quad Cortex are decent, but the FM3 has a real depth to it, like the range of effect, if that makes sense. So the Plex delay block, I did a video on it the other day, and the Plex delay block is incredible. Yes, I can demo Toxic Synth. I might change it up a bit actually, because there's the actual core tone of the Toxic Synth preset I don't really dig, but let's just do it. I can also take you through what's actually going on in this preset. So I'm going to change this. What is that? I need to change the outputs, don't I? So I'm going to change this to be something. What happened there? Uh, so Sean, the Helix version of this is actually way more complicated, not complicated, way more advanced than this. So what is actually happening in this preset? So let's just go into it. I can show you how you make these if you want. So what happens is that if you get the what is it? It's one of the filters. Filter. Where have you gone? None of them. Envelope filter. That's what we want. So Foog. So it's this kind of filter. The 3-note generator is more advanced than this. So you got. Wait, hold on. I've just done this wrong. Anyway. So as you turn up the resonance on here, where have we gone? I'm just going to go back to what it was. So basically, you've got the Mooga Fuga thing, like Moog filter. You turn up the resonance, and it feeds back. Hopefully. Should do anyway, or not. Oh, maybe it's because I've not. Like that. So the reality is that's actually super difficult to program anything that you could use yourself in that respect. So it's basically just, so if I go back and start again. So the drive's at 4. Anyway, you get the idea. Basically, it's essentially just making use of a bug, or not a bug, but like this thing feeds back at certain. So if you set this resonance high enough, you basically get a note produced from it, and then they're pitching that note. So versus on the Helix or on the fractal stuff, you've actually just got synth generators which you can use, which are a little bit more easy to get your head around. I don't know how you would create that particular preset from scratch, for example, but actually let's just try and do something. So I'll go back to my presets and Lone Star Clean. So now I'm going to move this up here and I'll create an envelope. Oh, that's gone confusing. Let's just start again. Lone Star Clean. If I move this up to here, the screen is pretty responsive. Has John said the word rubbish yet? I don't think I have. Right, filter. Foog. We'll put this here, and then we'll put the input, I think. Well, maybe we want the input disconnected. I don't know. This goes here. That goes to there maybe. Let's see if we can make this. Maybe I need to give it. So, do you see what I mean? It would be super difficult to achieve what they've achieved in that particular preset like this. So, now if I stick a pitch here, I can probably. I would choose the Axe FX3. Timothy, no live shows at all, really, not anything exciting. So, Sketch Stuffs asked, could I elaborate on why the Axe 3 would be the choice? I think just the breadth and depth of what's available in the Axe FX3 is what I would pick over that. I think you've got, you know, nearly 300 amps to choose from, and you've got pretty much all of the effects that you could need in there except for a clon. You've got the looper, which if I was going to pick just one device, I would need it to have a looper. So yeah, those are some of the reasons that I would pick the Axe FX3. Trevor, I'm not a good person to ask on the cab stuff versus FRFR. I've not had enough experience trying to actually do either. But I've got a Seymour Duncan power stage, and I've got a Line 6 power cab. I could probably try either of those options. If you've already got a regular cab that you'd like the sound of, I would use that, just because it saves buying a new thing potentially. I don't think it's necessarily a diss, by the way, that to say that someone might choose an Axe FX3 over the Quad Cortex. I do like the sounds and stuff that are coming out of the box. It's just, if someone asks me that, I'll try and just be honest about it. Hey, Master Meshatia, or Raphael, go with your real name, shall we? Price, feature-wise, where does it sit in the lineup? I guess depends on how much value you put in being able to do capturing versus profiling. So it's probably cheaper than a Kemper at the moment, isn't it? So I don't know, the Kemper has the looper, which is a plus towards the Kemper, but the Kemper UI I would say is not as usable as this UI. Profiling and capturing, in my experience, seem to be certainly within the same ballpark. I know the YouTube wisdom has been that the quad cortex is somehow more accurate than the Kemper. I don't think that's necessarily been proven to be the case. So I would, at the moment, with a lack of proper evidence, say that they're probably both similar in that regard. The delays and reverbs in the Kemper are a little bit more advanced. I'd say the drives in the quad cortex I prefer over most of the drives in the Kemper, except for the Kemper drive, which is a relatively new drive block. The QC does have bass gear. No, I've not tried them. Wonder what Embrit is going to do with the quad cortex. I imagine he's going to go for it. It takes a bit longer. Could you measure the latency of pitch shifter? I don't have a way to measure latency. I'd say one of the failures, I think, of Kemper is to explain the way that they expect you to use the refine thing. I think that was one of the things that Rabea ended up kind of getting rinsed for, shall we say. But in his defense, Kemper don't really explain what they expect you to do with it particularly well, not in the manuals. And yeah, so I think that's one of the things that Kemper could do now. You know, they could put out a video saying this is how you, or how we expect you to refine a profile. I think that would be useful, especially if people are continuing to use their Kempers and stuff. I think that might help people to get more out of the Kemper. I think there's still plenty of life in the Kemper for sure. Eric asks, why not use a laptop and interface? It's the same thing in many ways, or is that totally stupid? Run the new Soldano and Helix Native. See, the thing is, you're not at all wrong there. And the other point is that my computer, for example, can run a far more advanced version of Helix Native than the hardware can now, because they've made it unlockable. If that makes sense. So you can run it in like completely unlimited mode. So I can have like a future Helix if you like. I've done some videos on that. So it's absolutely, totally not stupid at all. I think when it comes to gigging, there's certain things that the actual hardware device are useful. You know, like tuners and all that sort of stuff, and things like looping, although you can't do that on a quad cortex anyway, but on the Helix, having that on hardware is useful. But you're absolutely right. Certainly my computer can do a really good job of modeling, or you know, running the modeling software in a way that this, well, certainly my computer far outpowers this, I presume, right? Were the factory presets any good? I can run through some if you'd like. I'm not necessarily convinced, Timothy. I don't know if anyone else feels this way about whether the touchscreen is definitely the way to go or not. I know in the past Helix people thought about doing touch screens back in the day, but for whatever reason they decided to go in the other direction. Yeah, I'm on the fence about it. I'm agnostic. I'd be interested to know if you're watching the video and you feel like leaving a comment. Vote either way about whether you'd want a touchscreen in your ideal modeler or not. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that. I might be alone in thinking that I like to have the knobs instead of the... Hey Steve. Hey JC Shirk. So of all of those modelers, the Iridium is not one that I'm not super excited about it at this stage, just because they didn't seem to be thinking about doing anything to move that forward as a modeler. So although it can do that one job that it does very well, I think it's not necessarily super exciting anymore. I don't know if the Cygnus update is available for the FM3 yet. Is it? And I don't think I'd recommend the Kemper at the moment, just because I sort of have a feeling, or this is a feeling that I feel is sort of crucial for Kemper, that if they aren't bringing out something newish yet, then I feel like they're gonna kind of slip quite away in the rankings, if there are any rankings. Yeah, Xanadization or Xandization. I agree. The smudges on the screen, I'm not. I don't love the way it ends up looking. So maybe I need to get a thingy, some sort of cloth to wipe that. I mean, I don't know anything about anything, but I feel like surely they must be working on some version of a new Kemper. And to me, that would be quite exciting. If you think of like a Kemper, but with a flexible kind of signal path potentially. So if you imagine kind of the Kemper as it is now, but in the world that modelers seem to be in now, where you've got these flexible signal chains, like you've got the grid of the axe effects, or you've got the helix, and you've got the quad started doing stuff. I feel like that'd be a really good way for Kemper to bring themselves sort of up to date, and the ability to load kind of dual profiles and stuff. I think that would also be a good way to remain relevant. It's just a lot to push against kind of the marketing of the Quad Cortex, I guess. Although still, I think the actual tones of the Kemper really do stand up in a way that's not really been fairly represented, in my opinion. I think Jason in the comments just got a blue guitar thing and he didn't particularly love it, but I think that was the whatever, I can't remember what it's called. So tried the golden reverb. I feel like the Universal Audio, in theory, I thought that potentially they might bring out something similar to the Quad Cortex when they were kind of teasing those new pedals. Have I found any presets that I hate in the Quad Cortex? Well, they'd mostly be in that category more than love, probably, just because of the way that I might just save this. Save as drone. Spelled drone wrong. For anyone who's, you know, waiting on their Quad Cortex, I feel like you're going to enjoy it when it does arrive. Oh, I've run out of... It's not... Right, cool. So let's just play through some of the factory presets, I guess. Factory library, Brit 22. Would I prefer to play through a modeler or an amp with an attenuator? So I put that in the not particularly a fan of category. Let's put it on snapshot mode, or C mode, sorry. So let's just keep going through some of these presets. Probably skip some of these. Let's go to this Freeman rhythm. Actually, Sega Mega Drive was my first console, but I would say PlayStation. Well, actually, PlayStation Are we talking about the first generation stuff? So the PlayStation 2 I really liked. I had one of those later on. What else? I don't know. I had an Xbox 360, I think, as well, which was cool. Shout out if you want me to try any of these particular presets. Mini Racto, awesome. Headphones I would recommend. I would say it's worth trying to find something open back. And I don't have anything specifically to recommend in that regard, except I've got these Sennheiser Mass Drop things, which were fairly cheap. Tweed Deluxe. This is the Tweed Deluxe right now, isn't it? Deluxe vibrato, yeah. I'll jump on the twin. I don't think that'd be a tweed twin though. Yeah, I would try to find some open back headphones. I think they do something that kind of suits modelers quite well, and I find them less fatiguing than closed back. What else have we got? So there was a twin around here somewhere, wasn't there? US twin vibrato. Try this preset. Yeah, I think I've got the slightly cheaper version of the, what is it, HD 58XX is effectively what I'm wearing. I think they're the Mass Drop version of them, but they work quite well, I think. Let's just keep going through some other presets then. So what have we got? Why is there all these bass things? It's not what we want. Dual amps and cabs. Let's see what this does. Is this that feed? No, it's a Freeman and an EVH. I think people liked this one. Street. Have we got any delay on this? that is bright. That's not for me. So Paul S says QC no better than Kemper. Agree. I'd say the jury is still out on whether it does a better job of capturing than profiling. I've not seen any particularly strong evidence that it does, and in my experiences, I personally found that the Kemper seemed to be a bit closer. So I quite like this preset. What's the headphone experience like on the Quad Cortex compared to maybe the Stomp? In what respect, Steve? So maybe I could try adding in that little trick that we were doing earlier. Turn the mix down, turn the resonance up. Input 1, and then put on a gate. That needs to go out through 3 and 4. Turn that all the way up, and then Steve, I've not found a sound that I could make on a Quad Cortex that I could not make on another modeler. If that makes any odds, if that answers your question. So we've got a Fender amp here, so I'll just turn the and the master, I guess. So we're doing that right now. Yeah, I can't say I'm a huge fan of the idea of IRs in the same way that I'm not a huge proponent of necessarily buying lots and lots of different Kemper packs. I think it's quite an easy way to spend quite a lot of money. I don't know, is that fair to say? Maybe not. So this is super bright sounding to me. Don't know if that is to you as well. what was the humming noise? That was me putting a little, you know, like the Toxic Synths preset that you might have seen Rabia playing through. I was recreating that. Do any of them have unique sounds blocks that the other modelists can't do? Do you mean the quad Cortex? I don't think there's anything in... Not that I'm aware of. The sort of thing that I found that I could do with it that I couldn't do on anything else was this kind of thing. So this preset is 4 amps and with a delay and a reverb on each. I can't quite do that on a Helix. We can create a preset with this Kraken, so I'll just create. I'm going to guess it's a capture. Bogner fish 3. See if we can find it. Here we are, Mega Squid. Which one? Does the... I don't think anyone can say for sure. I think Neural wouldn't, I'm imagining, have not picked a piece of... You'd expect that most of these knobs are going to last quite well. I mean, nothing is 100%, but I can't imagine that that would have been terrible business sense if these aren't going to last for a long time. Does the QC come with the slow 100 built in? Hey Mark, the answer to that is not that specific one. It does have a slow. I think it's the older one. The plug-in wouldn't be able to load at the moment anyway though. Yes, the QC can use an expression pedal. I did a live stream with that. So that's the clean. So you also want a dirty. So let's just drag that down there and change the device with this little knob that I hardly ever use. And I'll put it up to 7, 8 even. And we'll switch between those two. Maybe. Okay, so 7 is the... So you can change things here like you could. Will George asks, can the Cortex capture my electric piano sound captured internally? Right, I can try the thingy for you. Hold on, I'll show you the pitch shifter. Just turn that one off. There's not an issue with latency there. It does have a noise gate. Here you go. If I set the mix to 50%, you should maybe hear it a bit better. It's definitely some latency. I've not had any issues with the touchscreen. Again, I think that's like a similar thing to the knobs, where I can't imagine it would make very good business sense to put out a product if you weren't relatively confident that almost none of them were going to come back and have issues with. To me, it doesn't feel any better, for instance, than the Axe FX pitch shift down, or I don't think really the Helix one either. But you know, in that ballpark with other modelers, I would say, I think. On the pitch shift, that is, I think like it's. Oh, just a thought, I could. Maybe not. If I want one of these, do I need a power amp and a cab? It depends how you want to run it. Some people will be running it with a power amp and a cab, but I think Neural themselves recommend a full range flat response speaker. My signal chain is just this into a Steinberg UR RT4, and you're hearing a little bit from the webcam as well. See you in a bit, Mark. Cheers. Yeah, Ono. I wouldn't worry about it too much then, in which case you're going to be fine. With the Axe editing and stuff, I think if you use Axe Edit, that software, I think that's really cool. There's not a PC editor for the Quad Cortex at the moment. Enjoy your tea, Steve. I don't know what I'm having for tea. Need to think about that. But yeah, there's nothing that I've found that the Axe would disappoint anyone in any regard that I can think of. Obviously, this is smaller. And I guess also the other thing is with the Axe, you'd have to budget for some sort of foot controller, which is something to bear in mind. Also worth bearing in mind is, I think, quite a lot more expensive than the Quad Cortex, but you already knew that. Oh yeah, the FCB 1010, possibly there might be some presets out there that are already loaded and stuff for that, I'd imagine, because it's quite a common. So you'd be cool with that, I think. No, Will, it cannot. Hey Kevin, not yet. It cannot. R.L. Lynch says the QC does capture, Helix can't, that's huge for him. Do I notice the difference when I play different guitars pickups? Hopefully. I think Electro Harmonics make a few that do that. But not necessarily in a hugely convincing way. Yeah, Raphael, I'll show you the video. It was close, about what you'd expect. Let me find it. Where have you gone? The first thing I did was actually try to capture my HX Stomp lead tone. Where's it gone? I'll find it for you. Am I playing a Strat? Yes. Can changing scenes send MIDI messages? I've got really no idea about the MIDI capability at the moment. To be honest, it's not something that I'm hugely useful at. Kevin, I have not. Hey, Ross. Ross, I've got something to share with you as well later on, actually. I was speaking to someone. How it responds to different guitars, going to my record. I'd imagine with most modelers you'd notice the difference between your guitars. I'm going to say, probably. Pound of meat. What meat was it? Do I think a Strymon Volante would work well in the effects loop? I don't see why it wouldn't. I take it was beef. This was actually the capture of a J-Rocket. I've got a freeze. I think he was talking about a piano pedal, not a sustain thingy. I think he was talking about a literal thing that sounds like a piano, in which case EHX also do a few of those. They do like Rhodes emulations and a few bits and pieces, which are fairly cool. But those wouldn't be within the scope of being able to be captured by the Quad Cortex. The Quad Cortex can only do overdrives and distortion pedals. I don't really imagine Evil Ash asks how impressed I was with this sound the moment I plugged it in. Good first impressions? I would say yes, good first impression. I don't imagine there'll be too many people that are disappointed by it, if that's kind of what you're wondering. I think it's pretty easy to get the tones that you're wanting to get out of it, I think, depending on what those tones are. At the moment there's nothing dumbly in there particularly, except for maybe the Lone Star, but aside from that I think it covers most bases pretty well. Good question, Trevor. I've never heard of that. Can I show an orange preset if there are any? There's only captures, so I can show you a capture. Would I do this? Change this device. So if we go into factory captures at the end, you get Thunderburbs and stuff. So I've checked these out on another live stream, but I'm not really an orange person, so I don't know exactly how they're supposed to sound or anything. Don't know if there's an orange style. Here we are, an orange style cab. So that's supposed to be a Thunderverb. Flipping things. Change through the but let's go back to some of the other orange captures. Orange rocker verb, I guess this would be. Julian, at the moment, if you're going out of the TRS, like I am, you're going to find that you're going to have to change all of the stock presets to have the outputs 3 and 4. So that would be as good a reason as any that I can think of to use XLRs if you have them to hand. Yeah. So here's a California from There's a Boogie. The reverb is theirs. What is this? The cave, and yeah, the cave. So Kevin, I would say the clean of a Lone Star is sort of thick and full. I guess that's the closest thing that I can think of on here currently that is anything really like a Dumble clean, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it's identical or anything. Just that's the closest thing that I can think of that really does that. But yeah, if that makes any sense. Here's one of the Tone Junkie B3s. Anyway, any other questions? I'm probably going to go and get some food in a second. So, brilliant. Let's make it awkward. So here's the clean. That's not clean, is it though? It's definitely not a clean. So here's the Lone Star clean type thing. At the moment they're free if they share it with you. It's not really fully fleshed out though. There are no Dumble-like tones, Brewberry. Cool. Thank you everyone who stopped by and dropped in and left a comment and all that stuff and helped to make this fun. Hopefully that, I don't know, didn't answer any questions, did it? Hopefully that wasn't totally a waste of time. But thank you for stopping by and enjoy the rest of your April Fool's Day. Capture pedals. Yeah, the key 9 works. Sound like a piano, but you definitely won't be able to capture that with the quad Cortex. At the moment it's just overdrives and distortions, so nothing outlandish like that. But yeah, thank you for stopping by and I'll catch you in a bit. Cheers!